Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope everybody is having a fantastic weekend so far. I hope you're all healthy and strong and you're ready to learn English. Students, in this class we are looking at IELTS questions and answers for Band 9 Success. This is a members chat class, but of course everybody is welcome to watch. If you'd like to become a member of our channel, please click the join button next to the subscribe button. If you don't see that button, do not worry. You can send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com. That's my name, Adrian, at aehelp.com, and we can give you some more help on becoming a member of our channel. As a first step to help you with your IELTS journey, this lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. On those websites, we have lots and lots of help for you to improve your English as well as your communication skills to get those really nice high band scores on your next exam. This is our academic IELTS website here. You can click this big red button to join our premium package. It is a one-time payment for lifetime access. It doesn't cost very much, especially compared to the IELTS exam, so it's well worth your investment. We're an official British Council IELTS Test Registration Center, certified agents, so you're in good hands with us. We help hundreds, if not thousands, of students every day to succeed on their IELTS journey. You can see a lot of our testimonials here. General IELTS, it's the green background. And again, you just click this big red button to join our premium package. So go ahead and do that when you have a moment. Check out those websites. You can create a free account and try it out for free as well to get a hang of it and to see what you're getting into. Now, we also have apps, of course, that connect to the website, Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help. Our apps will also connect to the same account, so you can really study anywhere, anytime. And you can follow us on Instagram, IELTS_AHelp or GIELTS Help to get daily tips, videos, vocabulary, and much, much more. Welcome, Mohammed. Nice to see you in the class. I see lots of members have joined in as well. Hi, Amu. Hi, Harwinder. Hi, Paulo. Welcome back again. Atharwa, good to have you continuing on. Hello, everyone. Again, members, this is a Q&A class, which means questions and answers. So this will be your chance to ask me any question that you have about the IELTS exam or about English. I will do my best to answer you, and if I can't answer you, I will certainly look up the information and get back to you on it. So think about your questions, members. It is a first come, first serve, so the first questions that I see in the chat will be the first ones that I answered. So think about your questions. We've got lots more classes coming up over the course of the next week. Our schedule, November 20th to the 27th, will be up on our YouTube posts as well as Instagram. So check for that. We've got a speaking part 2 class a little bit later today in about 90 minutes. And then no class on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then more classes starting from Wednesday with speaking part 1, when we will again be doing some live speaking within our actual class, which is really exciting. And we'll do more of that with members. So lots and lots of exciting classes coming up in the week ahead. Okay, members, welcome Sudikshi, welcome Thomas Vinod. I would love to have some questions today from our General English Help IELTS channel as well. So think about your questions, students. If I'm seeing similar questions, I will try to group them together. Of course, if you're thinking it, other IELTS students are thinking it also. So do ask me the questions. And we have our first question already coming from our member, Atharwa. Atharwa is asking, Sir, how can I improve my intonations? Let me see, Atharwa, if I can actually get... well, actually, you know what? Let's do it this way. So I'm going to Control copy it here. Okay, so let's do this. So this is Atharwa's question here. This is the first question of the day. Sir, how can I improve my intonation and fluency? We actually don't count intonation, Atharwa. We just say intonation. We don't really say intonations. This is the question here, intonation and fluency. Okay, so the answer to this question, Atharwa, is practice, 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 okay? Which, of course, does not surprise you. You're probably like, yeah, I know that, Adrian. I know I have to practice lots. But it's true when you're speaking, okay? So for intonation, for those of you who don't know, okay, let me just define this for you. Intonation is the up and down. If you want the technical words, it's the inflection, and deflection of sounds while you are speaking. Okay, so that's what intonation is. It's the up and the down of the sounds while you speak. And English definitely has that. Now you probably hear me doing that while I'm speaking. So this up and down. Some languages have more intonation, like English, Italian, Spanish. Some languages are much more flat, okay, such as Japanese. Japanese tends to be a very flat language. Now, of course, to sound natural and to get a high band score in your IELTS speaking, you do have to be able to copy the intonation of English speakers, okay? So it's a good question, Atharwa. What do I do? And you do exactly that. So aside from just practice, 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 really what you want to do is watch videos and listen to podcasts with native English speakers and copy their intonation, okay? Which means nice and loud, copy sentence by sentence, record it on your phone. Replay the original and your copy on the phone and match them up for similarity and difference. Okay, so try to see, like, okay, am I actually copying this person? Do I actually have the same up and down in my voice? Do I have the same rhythm? Do I have the same pacing? And, you know, sometimes we think that we sound like that person. I know, like, for instance, when I'm singing, when I'm trying to copy a singer that I like, I think that I sound like the singer, but when other people listen to me, they're kind of like, yeah, Adrian, no, you don't sound like that person, right? So when you're copying the intonation, like when you copy my intonation or when you're listening to your favorite podcast, make sure it's a native English speaker, Atharwa, and then you copy their intonation, record it on your phone, okay, on your mobile device. I don't have my phone here beside me, but record it and then listen to the original audio from that speaker and then listen to your recording and see if it really sounds the same or if it's completely different. And if it's completely different, try to see where those differences are, okay? And mark them. You can mark with a check mark. You can mark the intonation. You've probably done that in your English classes before. And then do it again, right? So play the audio again, copy the intonation again, and it might seem a little bit slow in the beginning, but don't get discouraged. Just keep doing it. And eventually you will start to sound more and more like that person, okay? And it's absolutely great practice to do that. Does that make sense, Atharwa? So does that make sense on what I'm saying here with this exercise? So you want to practice, 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 okay? And then what you want to do is you want to watch these videos, okay? So watch videos, listen to podcasts with native English speakers, and copy the intonation. Now, I know people already do that, but one important step that many people don't do, or the next steps, is they don't record their copy on the phone, and then they don't replay the original, and then they don't re-record, okay? So after you have done this, practice the same sentence again and record again and listen again and test to see if you have improved. Okay, so instead of just copying, copying, and copying, which is good, it's good practice to just copy, 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 but when you're really sitting down and practicing, you want to go through these following steps as well, okay? And this isn't, of course, just for Atharwa, it's for everybody else, okay? So watch videos, listen to podcasts, copy their intonation, okay? And this you can consider as kind of like step 2. Record it on your phone, and then replay the original and your copy on the phone and match the similarities with differences, okay? And then after you've done this, you want to practice the same sentence again and record again and listen again and test to see if you have improved, okay? So that's what you want to do, Atharwa, okay? Atharwa says totally. And like I say, Atharwa, it might seem a little bit tedious at the beginning, like, oh, this is so much work, but hard work pays off, as they say, so it's good practice, okay? All right, Mohammed is asking, sir, how can I avoid translating English and only thinking in English? That is a really good question, Mohammed. So, Mohammed is asking, Mohammed. So many ways to spell the name Mohammed. I want to make sure I get the spelling that you have. Okay, sir, how can I avoid translating English and only think in English? That is a brilliant question, and that's a skill that so many people want to master, of course, right? When you speak another language. So languages are culturally bound, and certainly there are some expressions and certain ideas that don't really translate, right? So that's why I know a lot of people are asking this, because they're like, well, we don't really have the same word in our language. Like if you're speaking Arabic, Mohammed, you might be like, well, I know that some expressions in English don't exist in Arabic, and vice versa. Some expressions or some ideas in Arabic don't really exist in English, so I don't want to be translating. And of course, the culture is different, so culturally you want to sound different, right? Okay, so here's my answer, Mohammed. Let's get your question to the next page here, all right? So the first and foremost step that's important here is use English for prolonged periods of time, okay? So you're probably like, well, what do you mean by this, Adrian? And this is what we call a qualitative answer. I'm going to give you a quantitative answer. So you should have days where you are speaking English for several hours, like 3 or more hours. Okay, so the brain will start to think in the language that it is using when it is using it for a long time without interruption. Okay, so Mohammed and everybody else, one of the big reasons why many people have difficulty thinking in English is because they don't stay in English long enough. So they practice English and they're like, well, I speak English every day, but they're only speaking English for like 30 minutes or even less, like 15 minutes. And if you're only speaking in English 15 minutes, then the brain, of course, at first, it's trying to take the easy path. So it's trying to just kind of translate and translate and translate. But if you stay in English and you keep talking in English, eventually the brain will start to adjust and adapt. Okay, the brain is an adapting machine, but you have to give it a chance to adapt. And a language is very complex, so it can't just adapt within 10 minutes. It has to stay in the language for hours, and then it will start to automate. Okay, because what you're doing here is you're switching your brain to automation. Okay, so that's the answer there, Mohammed. So give your brain, okay, a chance to adapt to English by staying in English for prolonged periods of time. If you have another person, a partner, a friend, not partner, a friend, a wife, a husband, that you can speak English with from, say, 5 to 9 p.m., then agree on this kind of practice at least twice a week. Okay, so so many times when I'm training students for IELTS, I ask them, like, does your husband speak English or does your wife speak English? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, do you speak English with them at home, like in the evening? And they're like, nah, because it's kind of tiring and it's easier to express ourselves in our own language. But I'm like, well, you have a partner right there with you, so you should. And you can both improve. It helps your brain to grow. If you have kids, they learn the language as well. But you have to really make it clear. So, like, you have to put up a big piece of paper with red letters. English time, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Does everybody get that? That's kind of that's a really important tip, and it sounds kind of, simple, and it is, but you have to do it. So take a piece of paper, write down English hours, Wednesday, 5 to 9 p.m. in red letters. Put that on the board, and then at your home, put it on the door or put it on your refrigerator. And then make sure that during those times you switch to English. And if the other person starts to speak French or Portuguese or Spanish or Arabic, then say, hey, stop. This is English time, and I want to get my mind thinking in English, so I don't translate, because I want to really learn English and feel the English culture. So let's just speak English. Okay? So Mohammed, that is my response to that. Also, another way to train your brain to think in English instead of your first language or your native language is to read and write simultaneously. Okay, so this is that was the first answer. This is the second one. Okay, so second, you can spend 90 minutes reading an English novel, so not like, you know, a textbook, but an actual English novel, a story, okay? And then write a summary, of course in English, a summary in English about the story that you have just read. It's kind of the same principle here. So you're keeping your mind in English for a long period of time, okay? This is the same idea that you are keeping your thoughts in English for long periods of time, okay? So basically the trick, if you will, for thinking in English is to immerse yourself in English, right? That's why people who move to an English-speaking country will eventually start to think in English when they speak in English, because they're staying in the language for long periods of time, okay? All right, so Mohammed, that is the key. If your brain's in English just for short periods of time, it will always try to translate, okay? There is no way to do it if you're doing that, all right? Mohammed, I'm glad that you found that useful. That was a great question, okay? Nita, welcome to our group of members. So Nita is also here with us. Good. All right, we've got some more questions here. Let me see if I can, maybe I can get your questions actually showing up on my screen here. Let me see if I can do that. Okay. Just give me 1 second here. I'm gonna try to see. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, perfect. So yeah, all right. Okay, let's do this. Let me just, all right. Okay. Okie dokie. So there is our chat. Okay, so here, just so you guys, maybe some people are thinking, is Adrian making up these questions, or are people actually asking this? So I'm just going to put our members' questions in here for now, general IELTS students, because if I put yours here too, then it will be just too much on the screen. But you can see it, so you see what we're talking about here. Okay. Good. All right. Let me just pop this down a little bit there so you can see me as well. Okay, you've got lots going on now visually, so you can see the notes, you can see the questions, and you can see me as well. Okay, cool. So there's all of our lovely members for you there. Okay, awesome. Paulo Reese is asking how to write good general writing task 1. You can see the question here. So let's grab it. Let's grab that question. Again, if you're thinking it, somebody else is thinking it as well. So Paul is asking this question here. How can I write a good general task 1 writing? Okay. That's a great question, Paulo, and I mean, we do have some videos on this. There's a lot of information for that. That's a big, big question, right? So let me get an answer to you there. Okay, so first of all, here, let me continue with that there. Okay, so first of all, general IELTS task 1. Does anybody know what kind of an essay that is? So you have to understand your essay basics to write good essays, okay? And the first thing, and I think, Paulo, you probably know this, all right? So you have to know your essay basics, students. You can't just start writing good essays without understanding the concept of essays. It's kind of like, I can't possibly build or fix a car without understanding the fundamental principles of how a car works. So it has a frame, it has an engine, it has a body, it has electrical wiring. There are different types of cars: rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive. And you have to understand the base of what a guy way to explain this, right? With a car. But if I want to fix a car or work on a car or build a car, I have to understand the fundamental principles of an automobile. Essays are no different. There are fundamental principles. There are different types of essays. And IELTS General Task 1, Academic Task 1, and Task 2 are fundamentally different essays. They're different types of essays. They require different types of information. So, Nida, Paulo, Amu, Bakrat, what is the fundamental type of essay, Task 1 for general? So what is that? Okay, so what type of essay is Task 1? I know that some of our members know this from some of our classes, right? There are 4 types of essays, okay? Task 2, for instance, is a persuasive essay, both for the academic and the general. And the academic Task 1 is an expository essay, okay? Paulo, it's not a letter. Letter is not really a type of, or it's not a fundamental type of essay, okay? Letter is a genre of writing, if you will, but it's not actually one of the main kinds of essay features or types, okay? There's only 4, all right? There's persuasive, where you try to convince your reader of your ideas. That's Task 2, okay? There's expository, where you want to explain an idea, like a graph or a chart in Task 1 Academic. There's descriptive, where you try to describe an idea or an object, like I'm describing my house, for example, and I write an essay about that. And there's a 4th type, and that 4th type is Task 1 General, okay? So Task 1 General, what is that? Anybody? No? All right, well, I'll spoil it for you. Okay, so how to write good general writing Task 1. Know the rules and parameters of narrative essay writing. As Task 1 General is a narrative essay that is written in the first person voice. Okay, so what you have to understand to write a good general Task 1 essay is to understand narrative essay rules and guidelines. And a narrative essay you can basically think about as storytelling, okay? A narrative essay, think about the word narrator or narration. It's telling a story. A narrative essay is a story that is written. It has a beginning, middle, and end. It has a setting with characters. Okay, so the location, the time, okay. It has the main story, a climax, so some kind of a conflict or problem or a surprise that it builds up to, and then a solution, okay? All right, so it has all of those, okay? Okay, and Task 1 for the General IELTS is exactly that. It's a story. So if you're writing a letter where you're telling your friend about your new job, right? You tell your friend about where your job is, when you got the job, how you got the job, how you feel about that job, what you have to do in your job, maybe some surprising challenges that come up in your job, how you solve those challenges, and then how you feel or what you see the future is for your job, and that will build a great story. And then, of course, you see the first person here. So first person voice means that you write from your subjective perspective. Okay, so you write from your subjective perspective using I, me, my, myself. Okay, so you're telling the story from your position in most general IELTS Task 1 essays. So you have to understand this. If you don't understand narrative writing, if you don't understand first person voice, then you have to research that. Okay, so if this is new for you, then research it. Okay, so research, and of course when we say research, we often say Google, right? Good narrative writing. Okay, in first person. There are lots of techniques for good narrative writing. You have to include lots of sensory language, so sight, smell, hearing, sounds, right? Like my new job is very noisy. It sounds like a train is going past my office window every morning. This makes it difficult for me to concentrate. So recently, I started to wear earmuffs to work. Can you imagine how difficult it is to sit in a hot office all day typing while wearing earmuffs? Well, at least it's better than listening to the train outside my window. So that kind of descriptive, okay, it's called sensory writing, helps to create better writing. Also, there are lots of literary tools like metaphors, cacophonies, similes, automatopoeias. I would be sitting here all day talking to you about this. So again, just research it. Okay, Paulo? So research that. Okay? All right, let me just get the chat off here, the window, so I can go over that again, okay? So you can see this. Okay, so Paulo's question again was how to write good general IELTS Task 1, all right? The answer to this is know the rules and parameters of narrative essay writing. There are 4 types of essays, okay? All right? Again, persuasive essays, expository essays, descriptive essays, and narrative essays. All writing, like argumentative essays, letter writing, disagree, agree, they all come under the category of one of these 4 kinds of writing, okay? So know that, okay? You have to learn that because if you're going to go to university or get a job in an English-speaking country, they expect you to understand these fundamental principles of writing, okay? All professional jobs have this expectation that you can do this, okay? So again, here, let me just emphasize this. So you must learn the basic concepts of English literature, such as the 4 types of essays. Okay, the king of them all is descriptive. So descriptive essays. All writing has description, and then expository. Third is persuasive, and 4th is narrative. So you should be looking these up and learning how to do this. And you'll see lots of examples online, and there are lots of very good English teachers who go through each of these step by step and really kind of guide you and teach you, okay? All right. So, good. Does everybody get that? So, Paulo, does that answer your question? Does that get you going in the right direction at least? So, General IELTS Task 1, narrative writing features, literary tools, okay? You have to have that kind of setting. You have to have the one important word I'm missing here is plot. It wasn't coming to my mind, okay? So, it has a plot. Plot is kind of like the events that are happening, okay? So my new job is the plot, okay? That's the plot, it's the content, right? So it has a setting, characters, location, time, it has a plot, it has a climax, and it has a solution or an outcome to that climax, okay? So that's basically it there, all right? Okay, Paulo says, that makes sense. Thank you. All right, good. Okay, if you're doing academic IELTS Task 1, it's expository writing that you need to research. Okay. All right, let's take another question here from our members. Okay, so here we go. Let's see who comes next. So, okay. Where did your question go, Paulo? I was trying to, oh, there it is. I highlighted it. That's why I couldn't. Okay. All right, so Hasna. Hasna is asking us, I want to know what are some common idioms used for IELTS? Hasna, that is a super good question. Okay, we're actually just making a video on that, so it's interesting. We're thinking about the right kind of ideas, Hasna, if you're asking us that, because we're making a video on that right now. So that's brilliant. Okay, I'm happy you asked that. Okay, so this is Hasna's question here. Is I want to know what are some common idioms used for the IELTS exam. Yeah, there you go. Now you can all see it. It's not behind my head. Okay, so I want to know what are some common idioms used for IELTS. Good question. So like in speaking or in writing, you know, what are these common idioms that you can use? Okay, well, let's talk about that a little bit. So here we go. This is Hasna's question. It's a good question. And it has a simple and quick answer right off the bat. Yeah, there's an idiom for you right off the bat. Okay, so the most common idiomatic language in IELTS are phrasal verbs or verb phrases. They're the same thing, okay? Some textbooks say phrasal verbs, some textbooks say verb phrases, but that's what they are. Okay, so it's a great question because a lot of students get too fancy with their idioms and they make some really bizarre mistakes. So it's really awkward, okay? So the most common idiomatic language is phrasal verbs, verb phrases. Verb phrases are when you have a verb and a preposition, okay? So phrasal verbs, that means a verb plus a preposition. Okay, let me give you an example here. All right, so for example, the phrasal verb come across. I like this one. Okay, come across means, anybody know? So there's a single verb that will translate to come across. I'll give you an example sentence here. Okay, so I came across an old friend at the playground yesterday, and we had a good chat about English idioms. Okay, so came across in this sentence here, what does it mean? Can anybody tell me what come across means in this sentence? So Harwinder says it means meet. It's more than just meet, Harwinder. Natalie says that it means to meet or to see unexpectedly. Okay, here you can see Natalie's answer here, to see unexpectedly or to meet. There's actually a single verb. So most phrasal verbs have a single verb match, and that's why they're called idiomatic language, because they're not the actual accurate verb, okay? It starts with an E, everyone. So the answer to this question starts with an E. When you meet someone unexpectedly, Natalie, or you see someone unexpectedly, Paulo, there's a word for that. It's one word. It is, the word is, yeah, there you go, Natalie, encounter. Very good. So you got it. Excellent. It's encounter. Okay. So here I could also say that I encountered an old friend at the playground. So this is the most common type of idiomatic language that we use in our everyday speaking, okay? Even native speakers don't really use a lot of complex idioms, okay? So the second most common idioms in IELTS are short idioms. Okay, so short idioms, for example, like right off the bat, which means immediately. Okay, I used this idiom a second ago. Or, for instance, in the heart of. Okay, so in the center. Okay, in the IELTS, the examiner might ask you, where do you live? And I might say something like, I live in the heart of Victoria, BC, instead of saying that I live in downtown Victoria, BC. So we use these kinds of short idioms where it's like 3 or 4 words. Okay, those are the second most common. And then only after that do we use like really long idioms. And I don't even recommend using these long idioms. You can get a band 9 without using a long idiom, okay? So you can get a band 9. Get a band 9 in the IELTS without using long idioms or idiomatic language, okay? These are not commonly used and can be very awkward when they are forced into language unnaturally. Okay, so for example, don't throw bricks when you live in a glass house. It means do not be a hypocrite. Okay, so those kinds of idioms, we rarely ever use them, all right? So again, just to reiterate, the most common type of idiomatic language in IELTS are phrasal verbs, okay? Is phrasal verbs. It's verb plus preposition, and you should know lots of phrasal verbs. Most of you do. So most students, when they get to an intermediate level of English or higher, know lots of phrasal verbs. So just use those, okay? Use your phrasal verbs. And then the second most commonly used idioms are short idioms, like right off the bat or in the heart of, okay? Don't use these really complex idioms like don't throw bricks when you live in a glass house. People make mistakes. They use them in awkward ways, and the examiner or the listener's kind of like, what? So be careful, and never ever translate idioms, okay? That's a really important tip as well. Never ever translate idioms in your speaking, as it can be very confusing. Like if you tell me that the tiger jumped over the dragon's back on the last full moon, I have no idea what you're talking about. All I think of is an actual tiger jumping over a dragon when the moon is full. It doesn't make sense to me, okay? So never ever translate idioms in your speaking, as it can be very confusing. All right, so be super, super careful with that. Prazal is asking, I'm a graduate student of grade 12. Do I need to get IELTS classes for the IELTS exam? Yeah, Prazal, if your English is basic, yeah, absolutely. Join us at aehelp.com and gltshelp.com, okay? If you're going to sit the IELTS, definitely get classes, because the IELTS exam is not for basic English, Prazal, okay? All right? So be really careful. Sanjana, you can improve for the reading module by learning the right strategies and reading every single day. All right. Okay, everyone. So let's see what's going on in the chat here. Okay. So lots of great questions, by the way. Amu says, sir, I've heard. Okay, so I'm looking at this question here. Sir, I've heard that IELTS academic listening task is tougher at IDP when compared to British Council. No, it's not true. It's the exact same listening. The materials, Amu, are created by Cambridge ESOL Examination Board. It's not created by British Council or IDP. British Council, IDP, they just do the administration. They don't create the exams, okay? The exams are created by one place only, by ESOL. It's called ESOL, ESOL Examination Board, and they give the same materials to IDP and to British Council. So there is no difference at all between the materials. Did everybody get that? Okay, because a lot of times people ask about the materials at British Council versus IDP, but they get the same materials. They get it from the Cambridge ESOL Examination Board. Okay? Everybody cool? Everybody got that? So it doesn't matter where you go. The only difference between British Council and IDP will be the look of the test center and maybe the quality of the equipment. And that's hard to know. Sometimes IDP might have better equipment. British Council might have better equipment. Depends on when they upgraded their computers or their listening. Okay, so IDP, British Council, no difference with the exams because it's Cambridge ESOL in the UK that makes the exams. They're a third party. Okay, so so IELTS is created and managed and administered by three entities. Cambridge ESOL Examination, they're like the big heads, okay? They just make the exams. They're the brains behind the operation. And then you have IDP and you have British Council who distribute, mark, and administer the exams, okay? All right, so good question there, Amu. All right, let's see, who else? What else do we have here? Okay, Amu, I see your true, false, not given question. Check that one on our channel. There's a video for true, false, not given. Okay, so our YouTube channel has a true, false, not given reading video that you can check. Just search for it on our channel, okay? And you'll find it. It's really good. It's about 40 minutes long. Okay. Bakrat is asking, here we go. So Bakrat, right above my head. Bakrat saying, while answering part 3 questions, I always go off topic and add irrelevant. Bakrat, it's not unrelevant, it's irrelevant. Irrelevant information to complete the answer. How to be more specific. Visualize, Bakrat. Stay focused on the topic. Use connecting words like because, as a result, like, such as, and stay on topic. Okay, so see what you're talking about. Visualize what you're talking about to help you stay on topic. All right. Nita is saying, if we have an unfamiliar topic in the cue card, how do I avoid the or the natural fillers? Nita, I think somebody else asked about natural fillers. So you have to have good planning. You have to have good foresight. You have to know what you want to say before you say it, Nita. So in part 2, it's really important that you have good notes, that you take good notes in the 1 minute, and that you reflect on those notes. You use those notes. Look at the questions. Answer the questions on the card. Don't be shy. Sometimes in part 2, what candidates do is they read the questions, they take notes, and then they start talking and they never look at their notes or the questions again. That's really weird. Okay, the IELTS examiner will let you look at the cue card. You don't lose marks for stopping for a few seconds to look at the cue card and your notes to think about ideas. All right, so when you're about to say or then remember, oh yeah, instead of I'm going to look at my notes, and that should help me to continue with what I want to say. And then use connective phrases. Okay, Nita? So use a phrase like, so to add to what I was just saying, okay, I would like to further expand on this. And while you're saying I would like to further expand on this, you're looking at your notes. All right? Okay, students, I see that there are lots more questions, and that's fantastic. If I did not answer your questions, because I see that there are some more here. If I did not answer your questions, don't freak out, okay? You can always send me an email, and I'm going to show you where to do just that, all right? So if you didn't get an answer to your question, simply email me at adrian@aehelp.com, and me or one of my colleagues will get back to you with a good answer to help you on your IELTS journey. Remember, students, that you can find lots and lots of materials, help, and answers on our websites at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. Those websites have forums and blogs. This is our general IELTS website here. And you can click this big red button to join our premium package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. So you don't need to worry about paying again or subscription or any kind of thing like that. It doesn't cost a lot. It's really worth your time and effort. We've got hundreds, thousands of students that we've helped through the years. We're very proud to be one of the best IELTS training companies in the world, especially online. We separate the two academic and the general modules so that it doesn't confuse students, because you're really only learning one or the other, right? This is our academic IELTS website here. Click that big red button to join us there. Members, thank you for putting yourselves out there. Thank you for your questions. I really appreciate your effort today and participation. I will be back in 30 minutes, everyone, with some speaking part 2. So Nita, hang around. Nita, come back in 30 minutes. Take a short break, have a tea, stretch your legs. And the same for everyone. Come back in 30 minutes and we'll do speaking part 2 cue card, and I will go through step by step and show you how to plan your answers so that you can be fluent and that you can minimize those natural fillers and do a great job and get a high band score. So I'll be back soon. I'll be back in 30 minutes. Much love to all of you for now, and come back and join me shortly. I'm Adrian, signing out from Victoria for now. Bye.